This is my book. Uh, this is my book. This is a Josel, Just Talking Transcript from 1993. So, what I did was 102. It's 120 pages original, 102 printed. I took the. It was RTF in WordPad, converted to Ubuntu ODT document. I converted it into in October 2008. Doesn't matter much, but the original was from the title is Josel Just Talking Transcript from the website josel.com.au /index.html. I don't think the site is available anymore. The last time I checked, but it probably is not there anymore. But the book has a lot of everything that Joe talks about. I think he talks about healing and the gases and how you connect it. Now, Joe is very. None of this was really made. How can I say? It wasn't the way that it was presented. It was not like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. It's just like the way Joe talked about the cell. It's in a almost like cryptic way of speaking. He's not like a writer of books or anything like that. He's kind of like born with this stuff. And a lot of people, they think it's fake and, it doesn't work and so forth. He showed his car. He showed his, what was that? Little Australian car, Hobart. I forget the name of that car. It was a blue with blue flames. You may see videos in the internet, and it's Joe basically taking off in his little car with the vacuum, the carburetor, the gasoline blocked off. And he takes off in the car, running like better than ever before, fast. And, like if it had like a 12-cylinder Lamborghini in there. It was quick, and he broke some records at the over in I think it was Casino, the town where he broke these records at the field for cars, racetrack field for cars, the racetrack in Casino. I think it was Casino, and he broke these records. But later on, they took it off the boards, and they probably thought that he was cheating or something, that he did something weird, and of course people are not going to believe. I think that's the beauty of it. There's a lot of unbelievers, and which is good. It keeps everyone away from those people that believe. The unbelievers are they're gonna be a step down. It's like people that don't believe. They're gonna be a step down. Believe for a reason. You have to have reasons to believe, not that you're gonna invest just because some guy says this is what you gotta do. I'll talk about that later, some other time. But this is 2008. This is the transcript from 1993. If you can find it out there in the internet, I do have it in a doc format in one of my USB drives. Let's see. Yeah, I do. I do have it. Yeah. All the stuff I kept. If I can't find it online, it's probably because Google and YouTube were good for getting stuff, for silencing certain things for some reason. There was a cancel culture, but yeah, he's got the talk about healing and charging the body, body alignment. You align yourself with a battery. Yeah, that's another good thing that I'll talk about someday. But you gotta read this. Yeah, you gotta read it at least 10 times. If you're a real fanatic about free energy devices and stuff like that, it's just born in you. There's some people that deny stuff. They read a book once and they deny it. It's a bunch of BS. But once you learn from other people and from other sources, you get a feel that something is happening. The non-believers are, no matter what, they're not going to believe, and that's okay. That's okay. The ones that believe are, we're going to the moon, basically. Although I don't think you can really reach the moon the way we think. So this is that book. I just wanted to bring this up real quick. And Joe, he was sitting in his garage, in his workshop. He's got all kinds. He calls them plates, but they're really tubes. But he calls them plates. So they're stainless steel, and they are kind of like plates. They're kind of thick-walled. And a guy comes up to the driveway and brings up this beautiful cell that he had somebody fabricated for him. So he brings this. It's nice and shiny, and it's got all kinds, really beautiful cell, beautiful shine to it. The thing is beautiful, but just as he's bringing it up to the driveway, Joe says, no, it's not going to work. It's all boogered up. And what he meant by that is that the cell does not have to be pretty. It can be the ugliest thing there is. It doesn't have to be shine. It doesn't have to have a shine. It doesn't have to be painted. It has to work. That's the main thing. It has to work. When you start polishing it, sanding it, when you start scraping it, filing it, or whatever, you leave a frequency. In other words, you change the magnetism, the polarity on the item. That's why you can't have one of those tubes with a seam going down the middle, because it sets a frequency. It aligns the negatives and positives. The tube takes on a frequency. Every time you, it's the opposite of annealing. When you anneal, you heat it up and it becomes soft. Like copper. You take a sheet of copper and you put it in fire, or a wire. You put it in fire, it becomes soft and bendable, and it stays in a certain shape, the shape that you want it to be. When you stretch it, file it, fold it, it becomes hard. It hardens. And you have to anneal it to get that. It becomes kind of like a spring, and that's what happens to the cell. It becomes springy, like it becomes hard. So it has to be in a soft, extruded state without any twisting or filing or any sanding. Would heat help? Possibly. I think I tried it once, and I think there was something about it in one of these books about the Joe cell, about annealing the tubes before using them. So possibly it may help. If the cell doesn't do that for you, now this is all cells are different. You got to remember that all cells are different. The cell that I built is the gym cell. The cell that you build is the build cell, or whatever you want to call it. Every cell is different. You cannot duplicate a cell. Every cell is going to have some attribute that is different from the next cell. Even though you try to make them equal, every cell is going to be different in a certain way. Keep that in mind when if you want to endeavor or take the plunge and try to build something like this. It's going to take time. It's going to take a few years, perhaps, and you're going to learn along the way. I have a little bit more time available now that I can probably start testing again, just for fun. It's not, I'm not gonna use it for selling, and that's another thing that he mentioned, that when he's testing the cell, if he says I'm going to use it to make money, all of a sudden it stops working. When he says I'm not going to use it to make money, it starts working again. So it has like certain words have frequencies, and the meaning of it, the way you say it or you phrase something. The universe, one verse. It was a verse that set off the universe to get it started, basically. That's why it's called a universe. That's a secret. Now you know, okay? Oh, that's why it's called a universe. One verse. It was one verse that was spelled out or said, and it became to be. That's how it was. The way you say something, you're demanding it to do something. So you have to instruct it, and you have to take patience, a lot of patience, guys. This is like investing in my investing videos. Sometimes it takes a lot of patience and sooner or later you're gonna boom. It's gonna work for you, or it's gonna do something. In the meantime, keep your eyes open. Watch for those things that go back into your life and think about strange things that have happened to you. A car running for miles and miles and miles. Something like my sister had a car. I don't know if I told the story. I'll tell it really quick. My sister gives a car away to my aunt. My aunt comes to here to pick it up to take back to Georgia, where she lived. And my sister fixed up the car, and they start driving, and they go, we'll put fuel on the next town out of the city, so it'll be cheaper. So they try to fill it up, and it's topped off. They don't, they put in 25 cents or so, and the thing is topped off. It was full of fuel when it left the city. They keep driving. The gauge doesn't go down. They keep driving and driving and driving. They go, maybe the gauge is broken. Let's put some fuel in. They put a little fuel in. I don't know how much, but they go, it's full. The tank is full. They go, there's got to be something. Maybe a line is clogged or something like that. Anyways, they get home, and they didn't need fuel. They go, this car is amazing. There's something about this car. It's like it doesn't hardly use any fuel. It did. I think it did use a little bit, but it was very, very minimal. If I could say, maybe the car got maybe 300 miles to the gallon or something like that. Okay, so what happened before that? My sister had a problem with the car. Took it to the mechanic. They couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. Takes it out on the road. It dies out on her. It starts dying out on her. She took it to another mechanic, and again took it back 3 times, 4 times, or whatever. And finally, the mechanic goes, okay, I think we got it, we got it ready. And ever since then, she goes, the gas mileage was phenomenal. She didn't have to. She could go to work and come back and not have to put gas on the car. She said, and I people, embellish and they say things that you don't. Every car uses fuel. Maybe not. I told you the story about that little toy that I had, right? And the lawnmower that I had. But anyways, I think what happened was she took it to the shop the last time. She had a problem with the fuel pump. Maybe a wire. They disconnected the wire, started the car up to see if it... Maybe they disconnected the fuel pump. And the car ran. It ran great. And I think that's probably what happened. They disconnected the fuel pump because it was running on a different frequency, which is what Joe's cell... The cell was not connected to the car. But she did have a bunch of crystals, by the way. A bunch of stuff like this, little crystals, and she had it all over the car because she kind of believes in crystals. She had them all over the car, a glove box and the corners, every corner of the car, and probably that's what it gave a frequency that made the car work on a different frequency. By the way, if you have crystals, put them in your cars. It's probably going to do something to them, maybe. The car was. I think that's what happened. I never asked the mechanics, or I never went to find out what happened. But I think that's what they disconnected the fuel pump and okay, Jack, start it up. Let's check for a short, and then it's working great. Hey, that we got these wires disconnected. Maybe there's another fuel pump or something that's working. And let's just tape these up. Let's take it out for a ride, see what happens. And the way mechanics are, because I used to work in the shop, the way they mechanics are is say, if the car works great, leave it. If it doesn't do any weird stuff like the customer complains about, just leave it alone. If the car doesn't need a tune-up, don't, check it out real quick. Points or whatever. Well, they don't use points anymore, but filters and stuff like that. Other than that, leave the car. Don't. Why time it if the timing sounds great? It's past the emissions and everything. Leave it alone. Don't touch it. And that's a thing that everybody should do. It's like if it's working perfectly, unless it needs maintenance, regular maintenance, changing the oil and stuff like that. That you do. But if something works good, it's like leave it alone. Don't touch it. And I think that's what happened. They go, hey, the car is working. It runs great. I don't know. We disconnected that wire. Boss comes over and what's going on? They tell the guy the story, the boss, this car is doing this, blah, blah, blah. And so the boss goes, look, if it's working good, we got plenty of cars to work on the rest of the day. We'll have her pick her up. If there's more problems, she'll bring the car back. So she never brought the car back, and I think that's what happened. It was a beautiful car when it left here. By the way, I live in the Rust Belt type area, and she had fixed it up, the body and all that. When I got there, I went to visit them one time, and the car was very, very, very rusty. To the point that I said to myself, is this my sister's car? Why is it so rusty? It was like full of rust. And this had, She gave them the car maybe 3 years previous, and they live in an area where there's no rust, there's no salt on the streets or anything, but the car looks so rusty. Yeah, I don't know what she did with the crystals, if she took them all out, and the car just, I don't know, because it had a new home, it died, basically. I don't know. So that's the story. Keep that in mind. You've probably seen something like that in your lifetime, especially you guys that are into this stuff with the Joe cell. Things like that happen, and you got to keep your eyes open and wonder. Just keep. If I can put this in some kind of a file format, this is like the Bible for Joe cell. If you don't have this, and you have to, he talks about the vapors and the water, the gases on the Joe cell, what kind of gases it gives off, but you're not using that gas. Keep in mind that it's a blind plug. You hook it up to a bolt, and there's no holes. You're not using the gas. I mean, that took me several years to learn that they're not using gas, although it may be the gas that's in the cell that's transferring the energy into the automobile. So it's a complete way different way of looking at something. And if you're trained that way, you're not going to believe, and you're going to have your own mindset, and you got to get rid of everything that you've learned in your life. You've got to start at step number one. And, it took me several years until I learned that, especially about the blind plug, hooking it up with a pipe to the engine block directly, a solid, nothing, no holes or anything. No gas passing through, but there's gas here and it stops here. But the block, the aluminum block or the bolt it's attached to, is solid. There's no hole on that bolt, and it's like, what am I missing? It's like you're supposed to have a hole going into, we think fluids or gas or air. You gotta, if you put a pipe to something, it's gotta have over here. It's gotta have a receiver, a hole. No hole. Okay, so that's the today's Joe talk. Yeah, this is Joe cell, just talking. From 1993. I don't know who transcribed it or the story behind it, but whoever did it, thank you very much. I mean, this is like I said, this is kind of like the Bible. It's hard to understand Joe because he's Australian, and he jumps from one thing to another because he can't explain it the normal way. It's like learning something from somebody that speaks a different language. So that's all I got for today, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.